What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing tonight? It's your boy Doc Holiday back with another HBCU tonight tournament selection special. So make sure that you like the stream, comment, share, and most of all, subscribe to the channel. I do have a guest host that's going to be coming up in a few. But before we do all that, let me go ahead and give you a rundown of how we're going to do this tonight with the first commercial, and then we're going to go ahead and get to going.
It's your boy Doc Holiday. Become a subscriber on HBCU Overdrive on YouTube, and you can follow me on all social media platforms at HBCU_Overdrive on Twitter and Instagram. You can catch me on TikTok at Holiday1925 and on Facebook under my real name, David E. Smith Douglas. Also, when you become an exclusive family member, you get all the membership perks. You get all the exclusive members only videos, early access to new videos, member shoutouts, and members only live chats. And also, you can get birthday shoutouts on here and win member when you become a subscriber. You can also hit the donation to the Cash App at HBCU Overdrive. You can hit the PayPal, David Smith 1925, and you can hit the Zelle, David E. Smith 30 at gmail.com. Remember, all proceeds go towards the channel, not the pocket.
All right, we back again. So I'm bringing up my guest. Man, been at plenty of places. Of course, he's a Grambling alum. Also, he has been coaching in the HBCU ranks. Also, have experience coaching in the PWI at Northwestern State. I bring up Coach Mike Pittman to the show.
What's going on? What's going on, my man? What's happening?
Yeah, I gotta give you some grace up in here, man.
Thank you, man.
So we talked about this. We just talked about this earlier, just now, and I always have questions about where our schools are going, especially on the HBCU ranks, and who we're gonna face off against. Looking at, we already seen the selection show for the men. We get ready to jump into the women in about another 10 minutes. From the selection show, what are your takes on Grambling versus Montana State and Howard taking on Wagner in the first round, the first four?
Well, first of all, congratulations to the G-men as a proud alum, class of 1996, Grambling State University, exit 81. I'm happy for Coach Jackson and the Graham family for making it their first championship in the NCAA. And Doc, as you know, the last time they won a national title, there was NAIA. So this is their first trip. And so as they get ready to go play in the first four, they're coming off a tremendous high, because if you watched the game last night, you saw that I call him Mr. March Magic. Johnny Jones, he, no matter what happens, he always makes a way in March. And so the resiliency of Coach Jackson and his squad to make sure that even when the game started getting a little bit chippy, they kept their composure. And they struggled a little bit when Texas Southern started making their run, but they did what they need to do to win. I think that's going to be huge when it comes to the first four, because I don't think people really realize this year on the men's and the women's side, it's been a gauntlet. Like, they had to be, both men and women had to be ready to play every year. And I know that those guys going to go there ready to play. They're not going to be afraid. They're not going to be even in the moment as far as like, oh wow, we're in the NCAA. So, they're gonna get that guy out their system before they hop on a plane. And so I think it's going to be really the key for the Grambling men is going to be the guard play. When you look at the guard play, that's one of Grambling strong suits, because they hit it from a variety of areas between Smith, Moulton. The list can go on and on. And if they can insert their will and their athleticism, I believe they have a great chance of winning. Obviously, as an alum, I'm rooting for them anyway. So.
All right. What do you see about Howard with their season? also being in a play-in game.
I,
And remember, I'm gonna let people know. Remember, when you're in the play-in game, it is considered a first round matchup.
exactly.
So
So this ain't you now starting at the kiddie table, and if you win at the kiddie table, it don't count. No, it counts. And guess what? It also counts in for them after the season recruiting. so
right.
so to say they're coming in with the mindset of replaying. When it comes to Howard, I really do think that they're in the same situation. They're in the same situation like Grambling. I know Wagner. I don't know if anybody watched Wagner. They started catching on fire a little bit and stuff like that, and they got kind of
Mm-hmm.
hot in the tournament and stuff like that. Not a bad ball club, but I also think that when you're talking about Howard, you're talking about the fact that they could get up and down, and their athleticism and how they can defend. I think that's going to be huge for them. I think that's going to be the main thing. If they can defend in the interior and limit Wagner's guard play, then they
Mm-hmm.
definitely have a shot. And one thing that they also have to think about as well is they have to make sure that when it comes to 50-50 balls, that they win those 50-50 battles. When it comes to shots going up, limiting second chance opportunities and not getting in foul trouble off of other teams' offensive rebounding. If they do
Right.
that, then I believe they'll pull it off as well.
Right. So we always get into the notion to talk about when it comes down to um, money with the
Hmm.
tournament. Um, you know, you're not spending. So let everybody know if you qualify for the NCAA tournament, you're not spending your money. The NCAA is spending the money for you to go to these places to get to the tournament, especially if you're in the playing game, because the game is in Dayton, and then once you finish out of Dayton, you go to your respective tournament bracket. Um, so it's all basically you're getting the school is going to get a check from the NCAA when it comes to travel, when it comes to bringing a band, whatever, everything. Um, Tell folks, can you elaborate to folks how that goes about when it comes down to the NCAA and what they do as far as giving money to our institutions?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And from further background, for the last 3 years, I was assistant coach at, like I said, at Northwestern State. And generally, what happens is that when it comes to your tournament time, if you qualify for the tournament, the NCAA sends you a packet to fill out. Obviously, it's digitalized now, but you still got to get on the computer and type it out. And usually, at that point, you have to put your whole roster, coaching staff, support staff. Um, Cheerleaders, bands, and stuff like that. So, as a athletic department, as a women's basketball program, you really kind of lean upon your athletic department to try to help go through all of those things because the NCAA only gives you a certain amount of money and allowance per person in order to travel. You can't bring the whole band. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
So they do a fraction of everything. Obviously, the whole basketball program, everybody goes, but then the rest of the allotment goes to pep band, cheerleaders, and then obviously the administration. From there, they give you a per diem and they have you a slotted allotment of rooms at their host hotel. And then what happens is if you they have a plane set up, so if you win, then you good. If you lose, and if your game is at a certain time, like for example, like the first four games,
mm-hmm.
all of those are in the evening. So if they lose that night, they're not getting on a plane and heading back to the house. The NSA does have them spend the night before they leave out the next morning.
Okay.
And
So
so
basically, so because you play the game at night, give you the rest before you roll up out of there.
yeah, because you could think about it in the SWAC and in the MEAC. If you played on that Monday after that Monday, you're grabbing a box lunch, hopping on the bus, and rolling back. So no matter what, because institutions want to try to save money, but the
Mm-hmm.
NCAA they provide it because especially if it's a flight, they also have to take into account where you're flying to, where you're flying from. Like for example, I use Monroe in the situation with Grambling. You know, I'm hoping that Grambling win, but in a thumbs down case in which that they don't, Monroe Airport, if they're flying out of Monroe or Shreveport, those airports usually shut down usually about 9, 10 o'clock at the regional airports. It's not like they're international airports.
Right.
So those are things that the NCAA also takes into consideration.
So basically, they would have to so like say Grambling's leaving out to go to Dayton.
Hmm.
They would have to go where like get bused to like New Orleans or to like Dallas, which is I think, or even Jackson, which is like the closest airports.
Oh, they'll take them to the nearest regional airport. So for Grambling, it'll be they have the option of Monroe or Shreveport, depending on which plane that the NCAA sponsors will be able to fly in and out,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to get the plane there and get them to Dayton in a easy amount of time. Because here's what usually happens. I'm gonna use my example because I was a student assistant under Hall of Fame coach Pat Bibbs at Grambling. And in the HBCU world, if you're a student assistant, you free hired help. And so I was in charge of, doing a lot of operational film, things like that. So in 1995,
Mm-hmm.
we already knew who it was between us and Alcorn State who was going to represent the SWAC. Bracket was already out. We already knew we were going to be a 16, despite the fact that we beat University of Miami in their own tournament, and we lost to Tina Pinachero in Old Dominion, who was ranked
Ooh.
like number 5 in the country, and we lost and we lost at the buzzer. So if anybody want to roll that footage and look at the scores from the 94-95 season, Grambling State University, you'll see the score. We
Man,
lost we lost on the rim out. Shot went in and the rimmed out.
oh man, you brought back an old school name, Tina Pinachero. That don't nobody know too much about her, but she was a baller.
Oh, she was definitely a baller, man. And so so that was the thing. And so I mean, obviously we had Shay Hobson, and rest her soul. That was my girl. And but even that year, we got ranked in the highest. It was the USA Today poll because at the time the AP and the USA Today was collaborating. We
Mm-hmm.
got up to number, I think it was either 30 or 31 in the poll. We were receiving votes in the polls during that time.
Okay, okay, I
Yeah.
like that.
And so let me say one last thing, Doc. So
Mhm.
unfortunately we lost, but what the situation was going to be, because we played on a Sunday, we was going to play Penn State on a Thursday. So we were going to celebrate in Baton Rouge, but we were going to bus back that night, and then we was going to, take care of all the business at hand, and then we was going to leave out that Monday evening going to Pennsylvania because on a Tuesday, Coach Bibbs would have had a press conference,
Mhm.
for the first round matchup, and then acclimated, go to shoot around practice, and then get ready to go. So for the swag to be able to have a little bit more time is really beneficial because back in the day, if you won, you was already gone. You didn't have time to really celebrate.
Right,
And the coaching staff, the crazy thing is now you trying to pull film. Now this is in 1994, 95. It wasn't like how it is now. You trying to find old VHS tapes from teams, trying to find any type of footage you can, and newspaper articles to try to figure out who your opponent is if you didn't watch them on TV.
right. All right. So let me go ahead and get this out the way because I think the um selection show is about to come on. And
Yes.
I kind of want to get your opinion on certain things. How do you feel about uh, Grambling women going to the WNIT? And also with Bethune Cookman men getting a bid to the CBI tournament.
Well, I'm gonna start with the Grambling women. First of all, congratulations to Coach Courtney Simmons. Man, when I tell you the job that she did at Grambling, this year, is to be, really is to be commended. And I've been to, a few of the games, and I'm a Grambling alum, so I'm always going to peek my head in the gym every once in a while. Those
Mm-hmm.
girls was locked in with Coach Simmons from day one, man, and also how she immersed herself in the Grambling community, the Grambling Ruston community. I'm talking about, going visit churches, doing all type of community service events. And this is all before the whole, hey, can y'all get us some Gatorade? So she had been planting seeds of community involvement even before she started asking for help during the season. And I think
Okay.
some people didn't realize that, but she did she did a great job. And those girls were so close. I know they're hurt as should be, but the WNIT next to the NCAA is probably the best turn to get to. And I promise you, she's gonna have them ready when it comes time come time to play, because now she knows that they had a chance to get to the tournament and just missed out on it. So you know that she's gonna have that squad and the coaching staff ready to go.
All right. So we are full going right now, and go ahead and turn this up right
You guys
here.
most looking forward to when it comes to what this bracket will reveal?
Not only who the 1 seeds are, but their path to get to the Final Four. Who has the toughest path?
Put
Who
us
has
on the
the easiest?
spotlight.
I'm looking to see
Yeah.
how does the committee look at injuries, specifically where they're going to put a team like Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, Charlie. How many SEC teams did you have on the bubble? Four. SEC teams. I'm interested in the bubble and specifically what SEC teams get in.
Oh, man.
The number 1 seeds keep me up at night,
Sure.
so I am dying.
I'm sorry for my feed, y'all. This is through YouTube TV.
Trying to find out who gets that last spot on the 1 line.
It's St. Patrick's Day. It's really Groundhog Day. I think you said the exact same thing last year. We are about to reveal that, but for the folks at home, just a quick reminder of how the regions work, all right? So this year, all roads lead to Cleveland, Ohio, as I said. But before we get there, we're going to make pit stops in Albany, New York, and Portland, Oregon. Those are your 2 regional sites. The 4 teams left standing after that will make their way to Cleveland. The national semifinals will be April 5th on ESPN, and we'll crown a national champ April 7th on ABC.
State's team dinner. She left a credit card at the counter and told them to run it up, and she was going to handle it. And so, kind of like we talked about earlier.
All right. Any more thoughts on this bracket?
Well, listen, I had UCLA and LSU in my Final Four. So when you talk about these 2 teams being in the same region, this is definitely going to be a tough battle. Watching those 2 teams potentially go against each other with the size inside and the dynamic guards on the outside is going to be really impressive.
We don't know if it's the most difficult bracket yet because we still have half the bracket
Has
to
Albany
reveal.
sold out all their tickets yet?
Well,
They
that's
have.
what I'm saying. I have to
It's
imagine
sold
it's
out.
already done. We will move on to the Portland regions when we come up, as so many teams are standing by to see their fates revealed. Your women's selection show continues after this.
All right, we're going to, while they on commercial right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I want to get back into what we was talking about with UCLA taking that number 2 bid from LSU in this region was kind of surprising, even though LSU is the defending national champ. I think, like I said, I thought it would have been putting us in that 14 seed with LSU would have been a better matchup for us because our big Angel, Angel Jackson, she plays like a guard, but she's 6'6". I would have wanted to see that matchup because both Angels kind of play in a sense they mirror each other. The only person that I would have had a difficult time to try to guard is Anissa Morrow because she's a do-it-all type person, and she's a do-it-all type player. She averages like 16 sets, 18 and 11 from the guard position. That takes a lot of pressure off of Angel Reese. Flau'jae Johnson can, that opens up the floor for Flau'jae and Haley Van Lip to get going. To go up against a Rice team, which I never was seen that happen right there, is kind of crazy. But yes, I'm Miss Mac. We not playing South Carolina, so
Look, welcome on, and that's the good news for you and stuff like that. So yeah, we're not playing South Carolina.
We're not playing South Carolina. So you got your 2 number 1 seeds already in South Carolina and Iowa. So the other 2, I would say, That's a hard one.
I believe Texas will be a number one,
Texas
and
will
so
be one.
will be a number one, and the other one is really could be up for grabs. They can try to do the whole. I'm gonna give Gino his flowers for the way that they've come back and stuff like that. But it's really just wide open. I think that's the great thing about women's basketball this year. There is so much parity, and nobody
Mm-hmm.
and because of the transfer rules, the one time free, then it's like, oh, we can go somewhere and we can still be dominant. So it water, the parity is so great. And it was so great for our conference this year too.
Right. So, it's back on right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and get us going.
Gotcha. Oh, look, before we do it, let me give a shout out. What's going on, brother Carey? Good seeing you, my man. You know,
Oh yeah, that's
Sure,
up
it
to
was just like
Israel
tons
right
of
there.
gritting. I'm not upset that we moved on from that, but fantastic reactions as we get ready to reveal our
This conversation going right here.
yes, sir.
So let's get this conversation going. It's Jackson State versus UConn, 3-14 matchup.
So, so,
I,
so,
I
for,
said
go ahead.
I, I said it. We were gonna get a 15 seed. I said we're gonna get some higher than that. I was thinking about a 13 seed or a 12 seed, but I guess they go through the whole body of play, out of conference, net rankings, all the things that go into play into getting the seed and stuff like that. But I would have to check on it. I would have to check on their matchup, and see how it goes.
Yeah, I think like I said, I had them like I told you between the 13 and the 14, depending upon the Cinderella stories of March. And if you notice, which is a great thing for the SWAC conference, we didn't play in one of those playing games. You understand what I'm saying? You saw how you had like
Right,
Columbia and somebody playing, in a playing game to play somebody else. So I think that's a credit, to the strength of the SWAC in this particular season, along with the Cinderella stories of those other teams. Remember what I said earlier with some of those Cinderella teams that were going to put Jackson State up just a little bit because they took away a Power Five team from an automatic qualifier. But with
right.
that being said, they're still making them play a playing game. So that's the thing.
Yeah, my whole thing is too when it come down to it, I look at it, looking at it where Drexel took a bid away from when they beat Stony Brook earlier today in
Hmm.
the CAA tournament final for the women. Um, you've seen a lot of things fall into place, especially last night because today really doesn't tell your story of how the season's going to be because I feel like win or lose on a Sunday, if you're in the big names, your season was already going to be entrenched, regardless of what you did for today.
Hmm.
And I think that's a reason why a lot of teams are where now a lot of conferences start they try to finish their tournaments by Saturday because
Hmm.
they want to know what's going to happen on Sunday. The only ones that finish their tournaments on Sunday, what the Big 12? No, not even Big 12. Yeah, they did. Big 12, SEC, Big 10, and I know the Ivy League finished theirs also today. Is
But
some other and the American.
SEC finished theirs last week, and so you could remember they had the whole LSU South Carolina thing. So that was last Sunday
Mm-hmm.
that happened. So a lot of teams when they try to finish early, they want to try to get that rest. And so with this, for example, like with the SWAC starting their conference at the beginning of the year, it kind of takes away from it because some of these conferences start the week before Christmas. or the week leading up to
Right.
Christmas. So they save a kind of a week because the NCAA calendar says that you have to finish your regular season by a certain date. So you back schedule to make sure you do it. So some people want to finish that weekend and some people don't. Like I say, when I was student assistant at Grambling in the mid 90s, it was a Sunday, and that was after selection Sunday because we knew where we was going to go because it was already planned it out. I also want to say this, UConn is a perennial, historical team and stuff like that, but there's a reason why they're a 4 seed because they're not the
Right.
Tarasa is not on the court playing for now Paige can go, but
Page ball.
yeah, but what I will say, you asked me first of all if Coach Reed is scared to play them. You already know that answer.
Wow.
Wow.
I never expect that to happen
Bruh.
right there.
No,
Um,
no, no, no,
and
no.
they're going to be and they're in
Palo Alto.
they're
Yeah.
going to Palo
Cali.
Alto. It's
Yep.
hard to go. It's hard to win out there. It's hard to win out there. Even in that box gym that they have, it is hard to win. It is hard to win out there.
It's
So
hard. It's hard to win. First of all, let me go and get this off my chest. There's a snowball to me, in my opinion. I've been, coaching over 25 years, so I'm gonna say this. There's a snowball chance in South Hell, not Hell, but South Central Hell that I thought that Norfolk was gonna be a 15. There's no way. And so and sending them that far, I think they got a bad. I think they got a bad draw. I'm just gonna be totally honest with you. Now Stanford, Cameron Brink, that girl can
yeah,
hoop.
she what 6'8".
6'8" and
She's like
wing, wingspan. I'm gonna say it like this: she's lanky like Angel Reese, but with better skills. With better skills. With better skills.
ooh
Better skills. I
ooh.
watched. I watched her play in the 3-on-3 USA thing this summer. Watching it, and she was cooking. I mean, she did it alone this year. She declared for the WNBA draft. But Norfolk 15, nah, bro. I just don't see that.
That's something I did not see. I thought they were going to be a third, maybe a 14 seed also, but it's some bias into this whole thing right here. Is always going to be some bias into it as far as uh with our programs. Do we need to place them a little bit higher, or do we need to put them lower? I I'm in a sense that's surprising to me. Um,
And
Tournament
also,
time,
now, I say this,
yeah,
right now they have right as of now they have the longest trip.
they do. They do. We thought we had a long trip coming from Mississippi to Connecticut. They going, woo, they going way West Coast.
And
Hey,
three and crossing 3 time zones: Central, Mountain, and they landing in the Pacific.
woo.
I just hope that whenever they schedule the game, I hope it's early. And the reason I say that is because if it's 6 o'clock in Palo Alto, it's 9 o'clock on a body time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so those are the things that
Yeah,
I hope that they take into consideration. But for Norfolk, it's already going to be a tough draw, but let's not do any more damage.
right. And it's still that they got in there. Um, even though in that game, that tournament final right there, it was some questionable calls in that game right there, and I felt like Howard Bennett should have been in this tournament right here, but
I'm about to say Howard has a argument. That's safe to say.
uh. So we talked about Jackson State women. So we got Grambling men's basketball season. They're seeded number 16, so they playing the play-in game, like we said earlier. Um, how do you feel they can fare in the tournament this year?
Well, first, like when we talked about this earlier, Doc, you know, Grambling's guard play has been really good, and you saw it throughout the SWAC tournament how well that they played. I think sometimes they throw the ball in the bleachers a little bit too much for Coach Jack's, liking and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
when it comes down to when they have to make a play, they make a play. Smith would hit a big bucket. Moulton would try, would shoot from anywhere. Great ball control. And the one thing that Grambling also really do a pretty good job of, especially during the SWAC tournament, is limiting second chance opportunities for the opponents.
Right.
So all of them really crash the board, then they try to get out and run. And, at this point, the bed has been made already. So I really do think that when they play, uh, they're gonna be ready for the challenge. They're not gonna be phased, by the woo woo wah wah of it's the NCAA tournament because they've
Mm-hmm.
been so battle tested. Because really, just think about it. When you play against a Johnny Jones team in March, SWAC champion 3 straight years, you know, who's been to the NCAA tournament straight years, and you're able
Right.
to beat Johnny in the championship game after losing to him the previous year, that's you've already made a step. So
Right.
so they're not going to be phased by it because Coach Jones has a really athletic team, and they almost came back to take the lead on Grambling in the second half.
Right.
So they pulled through. So it's going to be really good for the G men.
And then we talked about kind of seeing this. We talked about this a little bit earlier too before the show came on. Bethune Cookman men and Grambling women basketball to continue to play. So Bethune Cookman men is going to the CBI tournament, and then also the Grambling women they've got the automatic qualifier for the SWAC for the WNIT. Now, the thing about what everybody was up in arms about earlier this year was the fact that the NIT and the WNIT wasn't going to try to bring in the mid-major schools anymore who did not win their conference tournament.
Hmm.
Usually, they took the people that won their regular season crown, but they wasn't going to take somebody who went second place in the conference, in a conference final. Um, what up? Uh, what about the fact about Bethune Cookman? And I heard Texas Southern accepted the bid too to the CBI. So what do you think about those three teams right there? And then too, we still haven't know. We don't know what the NIT field is going to look like because they make their selection. I think they make theirs tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, either
Yeah,
tomorrow or later on tonight.
yeah. I
So
think they make theirs on tomorrow because what generally happens is um and let me go ahead and start back with the Grambling women. So you're right. Usually they did not want to take. They would take maybe the non-qualifier from the regular season champ, and they're trying to do away with it. But what the WNIT is doing this year is they're looking at a team's body of work.
right,
They saw that Grambling got a Power Five win. They saw that they competed well against Power Five teams, even in losses, and scoring points. Like for example, they play University of Houston. They lost, but they scored I think 76 points against University of Houston. And if it's an invitational, they want to invite teams that can bring some exciting ball. And I think that's what the Grambling women will do. And so that's why they got that phone call. Plus, they got 22 wins, so you can't kick that off to the side. You
right,
know, when you look at Bethune Cookman, um, I think the Reggie Thea's name helps a little bit. Having a former NBA player standing on the sideline, coaching them up and stuff like that. And it's not like that Bethune doesn't play hard. They lost in the semis. So he has them guys, rolling and on a high trajectory. And nobody wants to play a Johnny Jones team in any postseason. So
right,
if they get into the any other one, whoever they play gonna have to watch out.
right. So and then too with Bethune Cookman, I like what they did. They did knock off the number. They knocked off the Southern was the number 3 team in the conference, knocked
Mm-hmm.
them off in the conference tournament. Played They played Grambling. I think they played Grambling tough in the semis. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
was it in the semi? Yeah. Um, and they kind of ran out of gas. But playing this team, three-headed guard monster, uh, led by Zion Harmon, and then Deshaun Dyson is a baller also. I get that Reggie Theus is going to give team fits because of the style of play that they play, and it also kind of remind me the way that he's coaching the team. It
Mm-hmm.
kind of remind me when he was at UNLV back in the '70s, the way that they could just run up and down the court like he used to do.
Yeah.
So I want to see it, are they going to be able to match up whoever they match up with? Are they going to be able to match up with with any other team that they get to see in that tournament right there? And like I said, with the um, you know, with the NIT, we don't know who else is going to be in there from our conference because uh, the the runner up in the tournament final was Texas Southern, so you already got that bid with the CBI, and also um, the other team that would be close would be Southern, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they will take a Southern team that was third in the conference in the NIT to
And
kind
let
of
me
compensate.
let me also say this too. You know, the CBI, the WNIT, they're not the NCAA as it comes to funding. So you're gonna have to sell some chicken plates. You're gonna have to do a little
Yeah,
GoFundMe to help the team out. They try to help a little bit, but some of the funding is gonna have to come from the supporters. So I think that's a big thing for all of them, not just the NCAA qualifiers, but for all of them.
hmm
If you enjoy any of those schools or want to support any of those institutions, go ahead in some type of way, shape, form, or fashion. Do what you need to do to help those programs, especially right now, because most athletic departments only have a certain amount of money for the budget during the season.
right.
They don't say, well, we're going to put 30 grand aside for the postseason. You know,
hmm
most of them don't do that. So when they do have something like that, that's when the support really needs to come in to help offset, some of the costs. Because I'm gonna tell you, when you travel, even though they give you a certain allotment, I mean, you still got laundry to do. You still have other stuff that you have to, take care of. You
Right.
also have to, some people do like snack crates, for the team when they arrive. Somebody may go to the store and get nutrition bars and stuff like that for the players to eat and to drink, to hydrate, in their hotels and stuff like that. So all of those little things are important as far as hydration and giving those guys energy and those ladies so they can perform the best that they can.
Right. So like I said, it was a long and arduous road to get to this point, but we made it to this point.
Yes,
We
sir.
are in tournament time, so it's either put up or shut up. Uh, I do like our chances against UConn, um, just from the fact that the way that Coach Reed had put that schedule out for us in the non-conference to play a St. John, to play a University of Texas, to play a University of Miami. Um, where we Mississippi State. I forgot me played Mississippi State this past year too.
Hmm.
So it was, she put that schedule out there to where it's supposed to benefit them in right now here in March to make it
Hmm.
go on a long run. So hopefully we get up to Stores. Uh, Now I would say Stores is not one of the places where it is you could get a win out of there because it is, it's one of the places like where they'll say where dreams go to die. But
Yeah. Where look,
This ain't the same, but to me, this ain't the same UConn team that I seen from the '90s and the early 2000s and stuff like that.
Maya Moore's not walking in the building. You know,
Rebecca
she's not.
Lobo is on. Rebecca Lobo is a commentator. You
Yeah,
got
yeah. So I mean, so Sue Bird is, she's chilling in retirement. So to your point is that they're not going to go in there scared. Now, is it going to be tough? Absolutely, because
Mhm.
stores. Because I've known some people who have, who've been up there. When it comes to UConn women basketball, and especially the men too, when it's time for them to play, offices, buildings, they're shutting down early
Hmm.
because they're getting in the building. So it's going to be rowdy in there. There is no doubt. But I have watched UConn play, and I have seen struggle when somebody, you know, besides Paige, I've seen people struggle when they put pressure on them. So if Crump and all of them can hound them, Hunter, if all of them can put some good on the ball pressure and give them and make it ugly, that's going to be the key. Make it ugly. Don't
Mhm.
go out there, for Jackson State, in my opinion, I don't want Jackson State to go out there saying, "Oh, we need to score to win." I want to score so I could say I could score in an NCAA tournament game. Now I want to be, can I get a stop? Let's try to
Right.
get a stop. Every possession, let's not worry about offense. That'll take care of itself, whatever it's going to be. But what you can't do is try to go in a shootout with them. So you got to
Right.
take the gun away from them. And the only way you could do that is having great perimeter defense and making it tough for them to try to get the entry passes. And also, what they like to do, UConn, is they like to run page off of screens.
Right.
So what Coach Reed and her staff gonna have to determine on whatever sets that they have, are you going to want to go over the top and take her off the 3-point line and ride her? Or are you going to try to go under if she beats your penetration? But the one thing you got to think about with Paige, if you try to go under a screen, she's going to stand behind the screen and shoot it.
Right.
So those are going to be some of the tactical things that Coach Reed and Gino, they're going to be trying to, play their own little chess match. But
Well,
but I think.
this is a good coaching matchup though too.
Oh yes, oh yes. There's no doubt. You know, it was so funny. I was watching the game last night. I don't think I saw Coach Reed smile till it was like 2.3 seconds left on the clock. Now
Right.
my game was in control. The next, she went and dapped up my guy Jay Will. They gave a big hug, and she saw, Coach Cousin loved on her, and then she started going down the line and giving dap and giving love to the players and everybody else. But she's she coaches with an attitude, and
Hmm.
and you know and if you notice, her players, they mirror that. So
Yeah.
there's any type of foolishness, they try not to get in any type of foolishness. They just keep their mouth closed and go about their business. And I think that's a credit to their mindset that they have this year. And so I think it's going to bode well, because they're not going to win or lose. It's not going to be because they're nervous. That's
Hmm.
the thing. They won't be nervous.
So Jackson State is coming in on a 21 game winning streak right now.
Hmm.
21 game winning streak. So we are 25-6. I think this is like the one of the best record we had in school history right here, if I'm not mistaken. I got to go back and check that out though. But I think this is one of the best records that we had in school history. And plus, going through the SWAC 18-0, we did have some hiccups in there. We lost our actual big Daphne White early
Hmm.
in the season with a torn knee ligament, but I think that Angel Jackson, she basically took over that defensive role.
Hmm.
And she did what she's supposed to do, because she wouldn't even be named Defensive Player of the Year for the SWAC if she didn't lead the league in block shots. And of course, she's one of the best free throw shooters on the team at like a little bit over 81%.
Hmm.
So another thing that I see that I want to say that concerns me, but we have to be very vigilant about, is the fact that free throws, they are. That's the reason why they call them free throws. They are free. We got to make sure we are able to make those free throws. We got to keep ourselves within let's say between 77% and like an 82 or 83% free throws percentage, shooting percentage. We cannot, what we saw yesterday, we cannot go into the game missing 12, 13, 14 free throws, because that's 12, 13, 14 points being taken off the board. So we cannot go into that game missing free throws.
Yeah, look for us free throws. You want to be on the AB honor roll. You don't want to have your percentage on the academic probation.
Right,
You
right.
know.
So we want to make sure that the free throw, we hit free throws, and it's also ball control. When I look at it, you know, Kashana Luckett, good, great point guard. But what I saw in the game last night is we had, issues with trying to break that press that Alcorn had put out there. But I'm not gonna say anything bad about it. But we just got to make sure that we can get those things fixed before they fly out to Connecticut.
Oh, and I
I'm not gonna put no, and Mr. Bridgman, I ain't gonna put no fears into the Lady Tigers. I'm just saying, as far as being watching what I saw and just trying to be critical, this is just all analysis. This ain't putting no fear in nobody's heart, because I don't think they have any kind of fear in their heart, even when they went to go play these other schools early in the season.
Oh no, and it's definitely absolutely not. Like I said, Doc, her. I've coached against her when I was at Alcorn State, and so we've had battles. So I know, that they're not going to be scared. And guess what? If Coach Reed and the team saw the broadcast and they heard us say that, you think she would care?
Nah.
Nah, she don't care.
Nah.
She don't care. She don't, look. She got attitude and do what she need to do on site. You stop saying, so that's not the thing. But what I will say is, in the second half of SWAC play, because I watched a lot of their games as well. Absolutely, you did too.
Mm-hmm.
Is that sometimes they have gotten into laws and started letting teams creep back in, and final scores was probably a little bit closer than what she wanted. And
Right.
I can promise you, if you were to ask her on some of those games, even though the one that she won, was she satisfied with their effort, especially in the second half when teams started making runs, and quite honestly, teams that should not have made runs against them, she would tell you the same thing that we're telling them right now. So, but nah, we know that Jackson State is gonna go there, win or lose. They're gonna be properly prepared. And one of the best ways for them to be prepared is for the supporters to make sure that y'all take care of her, and the team as they go and when they come back. And I'm saying with no extra charge, as also when she comes back, win or lose, they y'all Jackson State got something else they got to take care of as far as
Oh yeah,
Tamika.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah,
So
oh yeah.
I'm gonna say it like this. I don't like to count people money, but I know the product is in the pudding. And so, that needs to be said.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I like I said, AD Robinson. I think he gonna take care of that when either when she get back or while she's there, or whatever it may be. I think he's gonna take care of that and make sure that she's well compensated and make sure that she still had a support system in Jackson, because a lot of people, I talk, it'll be a lot of people on Twitter. Well, but Coach Reed should go coach somewhere else that got better this, better that, better this, better that. But I'm looking at it like, do they have a better support system for her? Do they have one
Mm.
for her to continue coaching and uh, make sure that she has the system in place for her son? Because you gotta
Hmm.
understand, she ain't coming just by herself. She a whole total package.
Yeah.
so you gonna have. I ain't saying break bread or nothing like that, but what I'm saying is there's some things in place that if push comes to shove, that they gonna make their pitch. Do you got this? And then if you don't, basically, I know Ashley's gonna counter. He's gonna counter off of that right there and say, "Hey, we got this. You've been doing this for this long. I don't see you, doing, leaving. And if the case may be, hell, we might well just go ahead and name the court after you." I mean, but people been talking about that. It's like people talk about that, and it gets so annoying because we got a passionate fan base. You already
Oh,
know. Uh,
look, absolutely. Like I said, as a Grambling grad who went to both, who's an alum of both Southern and Grambling, I know how the Jackson State fans are. I've sat on the bench and felt the rowdiness on my neck as I'm sitting behind the bench. So I know y'all gonna do everything that y'all can. But to also to your point, when you talk about people in their careers and their families and stuff like that, those kind of like how you say like in realtors when selling a home is all about location.
hmm,
You see what I'm saying? So like I'm just using this for example. I know the school is not open. But let's just say that University of Washington, they don't have an opening. But let's just say they had an opening. You think that Coach Reed would want to take a Power Five job in the University of Washington in Spokane, Tacoma, Washington, away from Jackson? You know what I'm saying? Because the thought process may be great of
hmm,
oh I'm Power Five or whatever, but the location may not be conducive for her personally, family wise, stuff like that.
right.
Kinda like what you said, they have all those things to factor. Plus, she's home. So
Hmm.
how they say home is where the heart is. Them heartstrings pull really good, especially when you're
Oh
having
yeah.
success. So whatever happens, I wish her the best in whatever happens, whether she, you know, Ashley's able to make it happen or not. But she has earned the opportunity, to talk about, how she wants to be perceived, going forward.
Right. She earned that right. And I think it's just right that we can do that. Yeah, I just got this info from my girl Liv for Hoops. She
Oh,
said
Liv. I'm
she
surprised she didn't
said
hop on.
she said she had something earlier to do. I had talked to her earlier. She said, for your information about UConn, they got 8 available players pending Aaliyah Edwards' return. Otherwise, just 7 available players. Mm, that.
Nah, that goes back to what I said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I said earlier that sometimes UConn is not the same as the old UConn, and sometimes they go into laws and don't play as they do. The reason why is because traditionally, if you was to look at if you look at Geno's, stats, you go to UConn's athletic page, go to previous history. When you look at the average amount of minutes that people play over 20, is usually probably about on a yearly basis, probably about 7 people play more than 20 minutes a ball game. So he don't run his bench anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
I think if they can start getting UConn in some foul trouble, have them start
He
playing some
got no
people who
choice.
exactly. And guess what? You don't think that Jackson State program don't know that already?
I think
They
they
probably
know it already.
they know it already. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. And so the way how Jackson State plays, they play with a purpose, but they also play kind of methodical, a
Mm-hmm.
little bit lull you to sleep, and then next thing you know, even off of a missed shot, they get an offensive rebounds, reset the shot clock.
Yeah.
So they're not getting a quality shot. You don't see them just chunking up shots just to be chunking it just for a highlight. So they do things very methodical. That's why they shoot such a good percentage. And so now if you turn that over defensively and say, hey, let me get stops, let's not get in foul trouble. Let's make it a 1 or 2 possession ball game each quarter, either in our favor or in their favor, but 1 or 2 possessions, so you can give yourself a chance in the fourth.
Yeah, they say he only runs 7. He only run a 7-man, 7.
Oh yeah.
Five on starter, 2 off the bench. But he said that they are down some starters. So if they down some starters, I mean, that's something that you still got to take into consideration. Your main priority is to go after Paige Beckers and make her try to do everything. You
Oh
know.
yeah, and if I'm them, whoever is Paige is guarding, and if it's man to man, I'm doing Kobe. ISO,
Mm-hmm.
ISO. Cause guess what, Paige, I want you to stop me. Either I'm gonna score or you're gonna get in foul trouble. I'll let you pick.
See, I like that. I like
You,
that.
you, you know, and that's the thing. Cause now what happens is if Paige get beats off the bounce, then guess what? There's help side, so now you just have to make the smart play.
Mm-hmm. And then once like you said, once they get once the ball comes out the rim or the glass or wherever, it's basically we already on the run. We run it to try to get it to our set. Um, but we shall see, because this is now. I was telling my friend, she loves D. I was like, when it comes to college basketball, is different than what you will see in college football. It's all about attrition. The battle. It's the same thing with college football too. It's always going to be a battle of attrition, but at the same time, you got to go with what you got. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't no we need. I'll be like, ain't no try to tryouts and stuff like that. No, we got to go with what we got. What we saw earlier this year, with this season for our men's team, is like, we lost our point guard who supposed to came in, Deshaun Ruffin, with early in the before the season even started.
Mm-hmm.
Our big man Mansell was out for majority of the year, and we lost some other players, due to season-ending injuries. And then our defensive player of the year, Jordan O'Neal, he missed like 2 or 3 games,
Mm-hmm.
um, but we talking about Coach Mo, who has who's been an assistant coach in the NBA. Of course, he's been at Alabama State, and now he at Jackson State. We still got to give it to I still got to give it up to him, because last season nobody did figure that we were gonna be third in the SWAC to get in the SWAC, to the
Mm-hmm.
tournament. And then this season we had high hopes of what was going to happen, but we limped into the tournament. I would say that we did limp into the tournament, and it basically we got exposed. We got
Yeah,
exposed.
and to your point, when you have season-ending injuries, one of the big differences in football compared to basketball is the fact that it's more easily in basketball for you to get exposed on your second. If you're on your second teamer,
Mm-hmm.
it's more easy to get exposed. Let me explain why. Because in football, as long as you have a good pass rush, and provided that you're not like just a sorry cornerback or something like that, but
Right.
even then they'll play cover two, and they'll play a cloud coverage over you to try
Mm-hmm.
to try to eliminate that. But if you're a weak defender on the basketball team, they can run sets to expose you, truly
Right.
expose you. Because they got 30 seconds to do so. Football,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have 30 seconds to do so. you know. So to your point, that's the thing. So it's great.
All right. I got my other uncle right here, Cedric. Yeah, you be interesting.
First of all, oh, I don't know where John Lynch Street is at anyway.
That's Jackson State. That's Jackson State. That's where we located at. Jackson State
I
University.
mean, I do that. I was like, what position? Because guess what? I'm not trying to do. If somebody decides to take another position, but who want to follow that? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I mean, that is that's
That's big
you.
shoes to
I mean, that,
fill.
that's. I mean, in that community for that program. I mean, it's legendary. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, boy, I followed when I was coaching high school. I followed a Hall of Fame coach coaching in high school. We went to the state playoffs and state ranked, all that other stuff. Lost to the state champion in the playoffs, and
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the most pressure packed. Now this was just high school, but that one of the most pressure packed seasons I ever had because who I was replacing.
Right.
you know, and so, but nah, they, I would love to see Tamika get her flowers and get what she deserved there. I think she's great for HBCUs. I think that that she rises up the competition because guess what? She, I think all of the schools, especially with the transfers, every school in the conference gives up the platform, which makes their programs even better. Why do you
Right.
think we had so many teams in the SWAC beat Power Five schools and mid major this year? I just think about this.
That's a
The
bar.
SWAC Women's Player of the Year, she didn't get her head coach until July. Think about that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? FAMU, Grizzle, Bridget Garden got hired in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Them kids was chilling. Oh, we got a new coach. Oh, Bridget Garden. Oh, okay. Oh, nice to meet y'all. I see y'all when registration start. I'm saying so for her to be able to have that type of success and bring those kids in and start molding them, and they started making a run. There was a tough out. You see what I'm saying? So just
Mm-hmm.
think about all those schools. Let's look at Nate at Alcorn,
Yeah.
who had an Alcorn on they on their bingo sheet to play in the finals.
Nobody, cause we
Nobody.
thought it was gonna be Jackson State versus either Southern
Graham.
or Grambling, or even well, Pine Bluff was in the same was in the same part of our bracket for the tournament. Um, but yeah,
So, I said to
nobody
everybody,
expected Alcorn to get up in there.
yeah, but see, in the postseason, it's all about matchups, my guy. And when you play a team, in all likelihood, for the third time, you know how those players move. You
Mm-hmm.
done seen all their sets. They may try to tweak something here or there, but most of the players are so in tune with the opposition because they played them on two previous times that they know their general body movement. You may not know the play, but you may know like what they do in order to come off a screen, how their body moves, how they shift their body, how they prep themselves to catch and shoot. So now it's not as easy. So
Right.
that's why you notice in the second half of the conference games. I mean, just think about it when you was watching IU Jackson State women, and they was having contests, closer than what it should have been contests. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
man, why? Have they hit a wall? No, those other teams just did a better job of scouting and knowing what they can do. The other
Right.
team not worrying about if they can score; they're just worrying about if they can make it ugly to give themselves a chance. And
Hey,
that's
for FAMU, tell Grizzle to go ahead and get that player of the year to Zay Green at Pine Bluff.
that was gonna be an interesting discussion because I think that the first half of the swag play I think would have been Zay Green,
Mm-hmm.
but, but Grizzle was cooking with canned fish grease on top of the stove the second half.
Right.
That grease had fish grease, pork grease, beef grease, all in the can sitting on the top, and she had, and she had on that duster like Big Mama and was cooking.
Oh man, so yeah, when it comes like I like it when it comes down to it. I love tournament time. Uh, it's all about to me. It's all about the underdogs. Because you already know what you can expect from the top four. But as far as on the men's side, I do not expect. I'm gonna be honest with you on the men's side.
Mhm.
We ain't talking about HBCU. We just talking about straight up
Yeah,
tournament. On the men's side, I do not expect University of Houston to go past the Sweet 16. I
how
don't see
how
it.
how they played yesterday,
I don't see it.
man. Now before Kelvin Sampson had them guys like just like oh bam bam bam, but then I watched the championship game yesterday. I think, and maybe maybe they're smelling themselves a little bit. And reason I say that is because I think that they knew that they was already going to be cemented as a number one.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they had the Saturday afternoon cookout. Y'all swing through if y'all want to. If not, we just chilling. You see what I'm saying? And that's how they played. I mean, because I watched a couple of their games because I have a close, basically like a family member of mine who's one of the top 50 top 10 guards in the country who has them as one of their finalists.
Mm.
And one of the finalists for the class of 2025. So I'm always peeking it out and be like, "Ooh, yeah, they're doing good. He'll play good with that." But then I'm like, yesterday, oh, he need to take his spot, and he can go and take his spot. So you really don't know. So I'm with you. And with March Madness, I think by by next weekend, by the end of the first round of games, everybody gonna throw their bracket.
Pretty
Everybody
much.
gonna get. 'Cause it's so much parity. And so I was listening to, interesting you say that, I was listening to Dr. McClendon because he chairs the men's committee,
Right. I listened to him earlier too.
and they was asking him some pointed questions about, why about this team, why about that team. And he said they have to go through a number of factors, but there was so much parity that it was hard to decipher who's who. Well, if there's so much parity, then that means there's more possibilities for brackets to be broken.
Broken. Like the Indiana State question came up earlier because their net ranking was like a 29. They had one of the highest net rankings and they didn't even get into the tournament. So now
Yeah.
guess what? They about to go into the NIT. They're going to be one
Yes.
of the highest net ranking teams in the NIT.
They're probably going. They may have the overall ranking, but that goes back to what I said earlier on the women's side. It happened on the men's side when you talk
Mm-hmm.
about those Cinderella teams that's getting in. So now some of those Power Five teams getting pushed out, or some of them teams with a high net ranking getting pushed out because, and you know this, Indiana State is known for one great basketball player, and that's Larry Bird.
Right.
Last time I checked, no matter if they are good or not, Larry Bird is not walking in the building to sell tickets. So they're also looking at regionally, because Dr. McClendon said this, like, for regionally, if we have two teams that's kind of similar, for us in probability with the proximity that they would have to the location that they have to play at. So they was also looking at travel costs as well. So that's why I think how they kind of Indiana State got the short end of the stick.
Yeah. It's a lot of other teams that got the short end of the stick. They feel like they should have deserved to be in the tournament. But hey, 68, 68 teams are in. Somebody get crowned. What, the first weekend? The first Monday of April.
April. Hmm.
And it's in Phoenix this year. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's in Phoenix, so it's going to be over at uh, um, University of Phoenix Stadium. Yeah.
I think
So
it's gonna. Yeah, I think it's gonna be where the Cardinals play. And they
yeah,
have the retractable dome, so they're gonna retract it and lay the court down. How they usually do it, and so I think that's how it's
yes.
gonna be.
So
And
they're gonna be over there. State Farm Arena. That's State Farm. Was it State Farm? I don't know. I gotta check it up. But
yeah,
uh, but yeah, we shall see. And then the HBCU All Star game is that Saturday
in Houston.
in Houston. No,
Hmm.
it's in Phoenix this year.
Oh, they're doing it in Phoenix this year. I
Yeah,
did not know that.
they do it in Phoenix. So the All Star game, I think they do it at wherever the host for the Final
Mm,
Four is. That's where they're gonna do it at.
gotcha.
So it won't be at the Cardinals football stadium. I think they're gonna be over at somebody at an arena. I had to go ahead and check that out and see about that. But
Tucson is not too far from Phoenix, so
yeah, Tucson like about 25 minutes from Phoenix.
hmm.
No. Tucson from Phoenix is like almost an hour and a half. I forgot I made that drive. I'm sorry. I made that drive to California about 2 years ago, and I like damn.
But I mean, but they still may have it in relative. location,
Mm-hmm.
because I know that for the HBCUs, they also try to use it as like an all-star slash mini combine, so they could try to get some looks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because
So,
you know, a lot of NBA teams and overseas, I'm sorry, NBA coaches are scouts, you know,
mhm.
and overseas will be there that weekend to watch the Final Four and stuff like that.
So on for your we gonna do winners for uh just the Final Four. It's kind of crazy to do it far for the men because you don't know who's gonna be up in there. We thought U of H was gonna be up in there, and then turn around and you found UConn took the whole thing from everybody
Hmm.
on the men's side, and then of course we all thought that South Carolina was gonna get up in there, and they lost in the semifinals. I remember that. Uh, that was here in Dallas to be exact.
Yeah, that was in Dallas. I actually, you know, how some people have to say sometimes you got to break your arm to pat your back. I actually was and I've done it twice for the WBCA. I actually was a presenter at the Final Four in Dallas last year,
Mm-hmm.
and also in 2018 in Columbus. And
Okay.
so yeah, so I was in the mix with all of them, and giving knowledge and stuff like that. So it was a fun time in Dallas, but that was really surprising to see South Carolina lose and stuff like that.
Yeah. So it was kind of see them lose like that, and then LSU take it all uh, in the national championship game against Caitlin Clark in Iowa. So we shall see. I will say this on the women's side, Dawn Staley and her crew is on a revenge tour. They
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
is on a revenge tour. Uh, that did not sit well with her. I know it didn't. So I have South Carolina taking on the women's side. On the men's side, I would say UConn. I would say
I
UConn.
was thinking the same. I was thinking the same thing, Doc. I had UConn too.
And the reason why I got UConn because the style of play that they play in the Big East, we talk about it ain't the old Big East that where they had Syracuse and all of them up in there, but we just talking about straight up dogs as like Creighton and
Hmm.
Marquette, and then even though Georgetown is on the downslide, you got them and St. John's. Uh,
Providence.
Providence, like those schools right there, the Catholic schools, and then you got this one state supported school that wanted to come back home. Uh, they played some rugged style basketball,
Yeah.
uh, but I wouldn't be remiss of let's say somebody would get hot. Like a Purdue, but then I won't see Purdue get up in there because they have a tendency to get put out in the second round of the tournament.
And also, the winner out of Grambling and Montana State plays Purdue.
Purdue. And I think if they beat Montana State, I think Grambling has a better matchup with Purdue because Purdue is like one of them teams where they big and they slow. Uh, they want to run half court sets. They don't want to run up and down the court. If I'm Grambling, if I'm Coach Jackson, I'm running the hell out of them up and
Gas
down
at the
the
pacer.
court. I'm running, especially with Purdue's big man. Oh, I'm
That-
running him. I'm running him up and down the court. It's like running gases, man. But
yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a really, I mean, he's a really good player. He's going to probably be top three in the draft. But at the same time, I did see him struggle in the NCAA tournament last year. So
mhm,
but back to what we said, you just have to make it ugly and give yourself a chance. And I know that that's what they're gonna. I know that's what Grambling gonna do if they have that opportunity. But first things first, they got to take care of Montana State.
right. What's another team I said? I mean, think about. I would say North Carolina, but shoot, the way they got worked last night by NC State, the big man, that big dude right there, he was like a
Yes.
left tackle. He gave them the business. I seen that man straight. Soon as he got his back to the basket, ball came in his hand. Oh, he already on his post move. And then whenever
You know,
Baycott,
he remind me of Zach. Remember how Zach Randolph used to play a
yeah,
little bit?
and I'm like, oh, he went into a counter move and dry stepped on him about 4 or 5 times. I was like, man, y'all better get y'all weight up on this dude right here. Cause
Yeah.
he gonna do it. I think that dude's gonna do it a lot in this tournament too for NC State.
But I think Carolina, they're going to step into the challenge. I really do think Baycott he and Davis, they're going to get that squad together. I mean, 'cause that was a little humbling pill, and one thing that's worse than a 1-game losing streak is a 2-game losing streak.
Oh yeah,
And what they don't want to do is take those remnants into their first round matchup because, like we said, it's March. And how many times have we seen a 15 beat a 2? We've seen it a few times.
a few
So,
times.
14-3, it happens. So they're gonna have to be ready to play.
So yeah, I like to see that, but I'm looking at these brackets. Iowa State has a chance to make some noise in this tournament.
I really do think that we talked about Houston earlier,
Right,
but I really do think that first of all, I know it's Sunday, but I'm sure Calvin Sampson cussed all them out today.
pretty much.
So I really do think that they have. I can see them losing in the Sweet 16, but I also can see them make it to the Final Four because it's all going to depend on matchups.
Right.
If we go by the body of work that we've seen, especially yesterday, like, oh no. But
Yeah.
we also know that throughout the season, they have been consistently either the first, second, or third best team in the country. So
Mm-hmm.
if they can get back to that, then they can. But if not, then kind of like what you said, they'll be turning their equipment in sometime week after next.
So yeah, I'm looking at this other matchup. Might be a potential second round matchup between Duke and maybe James Madison from the Sun Belt.
Yeah, and people sleep on JMU, but if you watch, if look, I'm gonna say it like this: with the Sun Belt, if you get up early enough on Saturday and
Mhm.
catch them early games after college game day, either that or on the stream, you usually will see them playing a quality matchup. I'm sure that even though I do think Duke is the better team, it's this not going to be one of those. Oh wow, we're putting in the third stringers for the last 5 minutes of the ball game.
Mm-hmm.
So you really got to think. Teams got to think because here's the thing that people also have to understand is that when you get into tournament play, you're only scouting for that one opponent. And
Right.
generally what happens, and and I can say this from experience, is that usually when you're getting ready for a first round matchup, you will have an assistant coach who scouted maybe, and maybe a GA or the video coordinator. They pull in clips to get ready for that first round matchup.
Right.
That video coordinator is also maybe working with one of the other assistants in the scenario of who we might play provided that we win. So that
Mm-hmm.
video coordinator or person who's handling the film is rough on them right now because they're pulling
Right.
clips from 3 different teams, but only one of them is certain, and that's the first round matchup. And so
Right.
even then, when you get to the second round matchup, that you may pull clips of, okay, let's get the top 10 let's get the top 8 to 10 players on each team. Let's find out, let's look at their percentage, let's see their shooting zones, and on the makes off their shooting zones, let's see what sets that they ran in order for them to get to their sweet spot. So
Right.
like, and I know people don't know this, but like at the end of every game, the coaches of each institution, like a college basketball game, you have what you call a stat book. It was
Mm-hmm.
basically just a printout of all the papers and it goes play by play. And then on the last sheet or the second to last sheet, they have a shot chart and it shows where a player made or missed at. So they have like the player number. And if it's circled, if it's dark, they made it. If they circled and missed it, if it's circled and not dark, it means they missed it. So
Mm-hmm.
what most people do in scouting is they, especially in the tournament, They'll look at that and say, okay, this person throughout the season or in a certain situation as far as man or zone, this is what they like to run because they shoot at a good percentage right here. So
Right.
now let's look at the film and see which set that they ran in order for them to get to that spot. Now from there, let's see how we're going to defend it. So those are like I said, those are the chess games that coaches play. But like the person that's handling the video, they're burning midnight oil and they're drinking coffee for days right now.
Oh,
Because,
I got word on the street that the NIT selection show is on right now.
oh, really?
Let me see if I can pull that up right now. And usually that will be on that's on ESPN too, to be exact. So I got another matchup that people might think about.
What you got?
Uh, mm, uh, Gonzaga and McNeese, that 5-12 matchup.
Let me tell you this, man. I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I know. I had a SWAC coach tell me before the season. He told me, Coach, McNeese
They
may
like that.
may not win or lose a game in conference. He told me that in October. He was like, I got a chance to see him. Like a man's coach. He told me this like in October. He said, now they had one little slip up, at conference. It kind of happens. But he
Mm-hmm.
told me in October that they're gonna be something to deal with. Because see, here's the thing. One thing about Will Wade and McNeese, he was formerly at LSU.
At LSU.
They said that he had some NCAA violations and stuff like that. But word on the street was some of the violations was because he was trying to help a kid in need, not necessarily he was trying to, like when they say providing extra benefits. Say that word
Mm-hmm.
on the street was it wasn't because of him trying to give him something personally. He was trying to help a kid out in need with a family matter.
Right.
So he had love and care for the kid. I mean, it's still a violation. Let's not get it twisted. You still gotta. It is what it is because otherwise you'll see a whole bunch of teams. You have a whole
Doing the
bunch of
same
teams.
thing.
Exactly. But anyway, a lot of the kids, a lot of the young men who he recruited that was high on his list, they was like, "Oh, come to McNeese, and we're gonna run this thing. We got a arena that's 2 years old, great facilities, stuff like that, and they got a rabid fan base for the men there. And that's Joe Dumas
Oh
um,
yeah.
arena. The
Yeah,
court is
it's
named
Charles.
after the court is named after Joe Dumas,
Yeah.
and so they did so well, man, Doc, that earlier this, I think it was like a month and a half ago or 2 months ago, they gave him an extension to his already first year deal. They added 3 more years to his contract. They gave him
That's a
an
good thing right
extension.
there too.
But see, here's where the economics fall in at, and this is where McNeese was like, you know what, I got something for you, because,
Mm-hmm.
and this is for anybody who tried to get them from a Power Five school. We're gonna give you a raise, but we're gonna also go add years to your contract. So, like, if somebody wants to try to get you out of year 2 or 3, you still got 4 more years left on your contract. So, guess what? You're gonna have to pay me. You're gonna have to pay McNeese the salary to get him. So now they're doing a fundraising off of him while he coaching. So like, because with the year that he's having, I don't think there was no doubt that there's a chance that somebody would have been like, "Hey, Will Wade, do you want to come to this Power Five school?" Well, you know what? You got to pay 7 years worth of salary to get him now.
Right.
So that was a great job by McNeese and saying like, "We like you. We're gonna give you a raise, but we're also gonna protect ourselves as far as money
Mm-hmm.
and look and raise some money if you decide to leave."
That's good though. These teams right here. I don't know
One
if
of the
it's
most
gonna be
balanced teams going. Again, an Ivy team, 6 players averaging over 9 points a game. They've got outstanding balance. If somebody's not hitting, there's always somebody else there to pick it up. But Jake Diebler, credit him for what he has done. Bruce Thornton, Jamison Battle, fantastic players for Ohio State.
All right, so that is half the bracket. That's your entire left-hand portion. If you're filling it out, of course, you'll be able to get this on ESPN.com here moments after all 32 teams are selected. Let's not waste any time. You've gotten to look at half the bracket. Which teams stand out? Let's start with you.
Well, I'm going to start with Ohio State. I mean, Jake Diebler's done a fantastic job of bringing this team back alive and going all the way back to the beginning when he took over. There's an energy on this team. They pass the ball. They shoot the ball, as we see here with Jamison Battle. Bruce Thornton can play. Roddy Gale Jr. Scotty Middleton has had an outstanding freshman year, shooting 44% from three. I love what Ohio State does. On the other side, Providence. If they are ready to go, they have the player of the year in the Big East. They've got a future top 20 at least pick in Devin Carter. They've got Joshua Duro, who's one of the tougher, can score over either shoulder, pivot off both feet. Outstanding player. I love what Kim English has done with that team. They're tough. I love both of those teams inside of that side of the bracket.
I love Princeton. My heart goes out to them. They were the 1 seed in the Ivy League. Caden Pierce, Xavier Lee are two outstandingly talented sophomores. But these guys, they feel like there's a chip on their shoulder. They were 24-3. They thought they should have an at-large conversation. They didn't even have a quad one opportunity this year. They are going to relish any chance they have to play against high major opponents and prove that they belong in a conversation in the years forward. Wake Forest.
Yeah, I'm about to get to that later on, but hey, it's like I said, it's Selection Sunday.
Yeah.
I appreciate you for pulling up, man, because I put it out there on Twitter. I said, hey, I need the panel to talk about this right here. And my man came in through the clutch. He hit me up. He's like, I got time. We could talk about this. He got experience on both HBCU and PWI. And it was a great thing that he came through. So he talked about a lot of things. And hopefully that our men's and women's from our respective institutions go out there and do their best and try to come home with a win.
Yeah, and first of all, like I said, Doc, and I've told you this already. Between you and like people like Liv, y'all really have done a great job for HBCU sports, especially during basketball season, man. So shout out to y'all. So how you had the intro with the hand clap, make sure you play for yourself too. So that's the one thing. And second of all, as we've talked and how we've been on Twitter chatting with each other and stuff like that, is that what we want people to know, especially in the HBCU space, is that you want to use this as an avenue to grow our name and grow the game of HBCU sports, not only in just football, but just in all sports. And the great thing about us is that we really are like that meme when you see like family members, like we talk about each other, we rib each other. But if you're coming from the outside and you ain't part of the HBCU community, you don't say nothing, because all of us will turn on you. You know what I'm saying? So so I actually do it, enjoy it, and like I said, I thank you, man, because like you said, this is an important day for athletics, for the HBCUs, and for our institutions. And just being able to have this platform to give to the people and talk to the people. And like I said, with my experience as far as helping plan for tournaments and what goes on with the operational part of it, the travel, the preparation, a lot of people don't really realize, like what all goes on, like the pre-production of everything, and what I hope is that the people who are listening, if you want to support an institution, find out from them, what do you need when you get there for us to help support you so you can be at your optimum best, as far as like nutrition and stuff like that. All those things go a long way, because it may give that young lady or that young man just a little bit more energy and just a little bit more effort to make a big play to help that team win.
Oh yeah, and I appreciate you, Coach. Any final thoughts to let them know where they can find you at?
Yeah, so like my Twitter, go ahead and follow me. I'll follow you back. It is Coach Pitt 504. I'm a New Orleans native, so I'm always repping the 504. But you can hit me up on Twitter on Coach Pitt 504. Instagram, Coach Pitt Basketball is all one word. And like I said, I see that, and then I'll follow you back. And like I said, I definitely enjoyed our time, Doc, and you know me, I'm like that old insurance commercial, like the attorney commercial. I'm like Morris Bart, one call, that's all. So whenever you need me, bro, you know I got you. And also shout out to like I said, to Jackson State and to the rest of the HBCUs that's qualified for the tournament. Let's go ahead and everybody root for our schools and right now.
Let me put out there too. Fayetteville State made it to. I think they made it to
The
the
D2.
third round in the D2.
Yeah,
Shout out to Coach Wright over at Langston University. He's over.
yeah.
He's going to Kansas City again. So
And I'm
and
trying to think that Coach Harrod at Langston. 'Cause he was at Talladega, then he went to Langston. Um, I'm trying to think where they are for the NAIA playoffs tournament because
on
I
the
think
men's side or women's side.
on the women's side.
Hmm.
Coach, yeah, from Langston, and so
Okay.
yeah, so I need to double check that, but I think they qualified too. But but any of our schools that's overachieving because of the underfunding, let's go ahead and show them some love, man. And so, I tell people I've worked in both avenues and stuff like that, and people always ask me, so Coach, what you gonna do? What you doing now? And so I'll see where my future lands at, because and let me also say this is that let's also be cognizant of people who lose their jobs, their transition in coaching and stuff like that. Because a lot of times people say, well, they deserve it, because because of this or whatever. But you also got from a humanitarian standpoint, you also
Yeah.
got families involved and stuff like that. So you always want to wish people well, even in the transition, not only career wise, but mentally wise and stuff like that. So let's make sure when stuff like that happens, let's make sure we give some people some grace as they prepare to transition. And also tomorrow, be on the lookout. The transfer portal officially opens,
For
and
basketball.
for basketball, men's and women's, they open up the transfer portal to Monday after Selection Sunday. So you're going to see a lot of people hopping in the portal to want to go to their next institution. You may see some swag movement too.
Okay.
So so that is some things to think about. So you're going to see coaches that's currently coaching now jockeying for position for their next player for them to come in and make an immediate impact. So
All
those
right.
are some of the things from a coaching standpoint and from a operation standpoint. The whole realm of running a college program for people out there who don't know to know what's going on over the next few months, not just the ball bouncing during March Madness.
All right. I appreciate you, Coach, man. Everybody, y'all give it up for Coach Pittman right here.
Give it up to Doc. Give it up to Doc, man.
Said I was gonna do this today, and I pulled it out. Everybody, we watched it. We like what we see, um, and y'all, everybody that's watching this, all 199, because we was up to almost over a little bit over 200 on between Twitter and YouTube. Uh,
Hey.
Make sure you want to keep if you want to put in if you want to see real content like this, in order for me to keep this going, we got to put in a donation. So if anybody wants to, $5 donation to the Cash App at HBCU Overdrive, it really helps me out to where I can pay to keep a streaming software, any other thing that we need for this show. It helps me immensely, and it just basically doesn't mean I come out of my own pocket all the time. So this is you want me to keep you want good content, great content like this. I say just chip in $5 for anybody that wants to chip in $5.
There you go. There you go. I mean, think about it. You gave them, let's see, it's almost 2 hours. You almost gave them 2 hours worth of work. $5, that's $2.50 an hour. So, so that's a small price to pay for quality and objective and supportive content. So shout out to you, my man.
All right. All right, now you have a good one, Coach.
All right, my man. I'll see you later, man. And like I said, let me know whenever. All right.
All right, I got you.
All right, bro. All right,
Mhm.
later.
All right, so we are out of here tonight. So appreciate everybody for for staying up with us. It's about to be 8:40. It's about to be 9 o'clock. All right, Mr. Boulder, Mr. Wheeler, you in Rockwall, yes sir. I'm over here in Irving right now, but I'm originally from Oak Cliff, so just let you know. Um, get a word from our sponsor, and then we up out of here, y'all.
Yo, it's your boy Doc Holliday with HBCU Overdrive, and I am proud to sponsor Merch Sports. Check out his new line of collection, the Black College Football Fan Club collection. It's basically designed to show support and give respect to the rich history and tradition of black college football. And as you already know, the best college players had to play at HBCUs before integration. So go ahead and check it out over at shopmerchsports.com. Merch Sports. Merch for the sports enthusiasts.
All right. So remember, this week, go wherever you at. Tune in on women and the men. Doesn't matter if your school is not in there. Make sure you support these institutions that are playing in postseason tournaments. Give a big shout out to Jack State women, Grambling women. We have Bethune-Cookman men, Grambling men, Howard men, and Norfolk State women. So we give them a big shout out to them. Like I said, if you want me to keep doing great content on this channel right here, make sure you put in a donation. It helps. Like I said, this helps me immensely. But as always, look, I'm the voice of the HBCU streets. I'm the voice of the HBCU culture. It doesn't matter what it is or what it is about. I'm your boy Doc Holliday. We'll be back on this thing probably tomorrow because I got some things to talk about tomorrow. But as always, y'all be blessed. Y'all stay safe. Y'all stay dangerous. Hug your loved ones. And we out this thing till tomorrow. Peace.